On Tuesday, April the 13th, 2021, I posted Anachronism 3209, and it is called an anachronism, and the title has an asterisk after it, so if I scroll down, I find at the very bottom an asterisk that says, "This is why I am a poet and not a scientist," and under that, in parentheses, an alternative title, in which I present to you a poem and simultaneously an introduction to another poem. I'm crazy like that. Which is just one of many that exists in what is now, a considerably lengthy accumulation of poems that are attempts, individually and summarily at heart, fundamentally intended to, among an array of additional stuff. What I'm saying here is that there is a growing list of twisting, turning, and evolving fundamentals. But the one that I am focusing on at present is that I meant to skew time in such a way, utilizing many means, some of them original with regard to intent, others serendipitous in a sort of mixed bag, throw everything in way, that brings into or out of focus various aspects of a new perspective on a life lived. There we have the synopsis of what I'm doing here for 4,000 poems that I'm, in some odd poems that I'm reading to you in many ways right there. Just throwing that out at you. Truly, that is kind of what I'm doing. I am thinking now that this is not unlike how a prism, when utilized, may, for one who observes, bring light itself into focus. But to limit is not to reduce. It also limits, to exclude, so as to focus. Maybe to release that which binds time and space might expose, and it does, it has, I've seen it. I'm not just an observer. My intent is not simply to observe, and as a journalist, a reporter, should be a reporter, a social anthropologist, as this is not simply an awkward means of coaxing an ego ever towards hubris. Or boy, do I ever hope that this is not only what I am doing. Yeah, but in the act of doing so, conscientiously, always this stultifying need to explain myself. But if I scrutinize self, in so doing, might I be so rational that can I be scientist enough that I also remove myself in the process? I'm suggesting a rather lofty striptease here, and while I have dressed and begun to undress, this notion is an enticing one, as well as what seems an ironic one to me, but I will tell you that it, alas, is not what I am going for here. If I throw myself in all of my various incarnations, if, as a purported sentient being, I pin a carnation to my lapel, if all I do is fret and strut and ham it up, waving my arms all about, as if only to say, look at me, well, and why not? But really, all I'm trying to say to you is that I've got a poem for you, but not this one. I mean, yes, this is a poem too, and I do most civilly offer it to you for your, I'll just say consideration and be done with it. But that's not the point at all. My point is, well, I shall make my point tomorrow, is that I know this surely must seem, well, I mean, I was going to say frustrating. This particular poem, trying to explain it all to you, going about making any point at all, it does get a bit ridiculous. I know. Or I would think. Well, I do think, but obviously there is an impulse in me that is contrary to that line of thought. Or, how's this? If you come back tomorrow, I will, while perhaps grounding myself more particularly, or specifically within the confines of time, considering, just between you and me, that this is the sort of specificity that is setting a scene that is focused specifically on a very particular and authentic and singular moment in time that I've exerted no small effort avoiding. here in this particular location, using this specific means of conveyance over these many years, will present to you that for which you are at this very moment taking the time to read. And for this, dear friend, I am enormously grateful. Is a mere introduction. With that, I say good night and good day, and I hope to meet you here or anywhere, if it comes right down to it, tomorrow. I might say that poem does try to say a lot, I don't know, it's just meandering, of course, but you can't really, I mean, you might, let me just point out that the blog, which these poems are held, and, you know, the proper platform, I might say, for the poems is at Anachronisms. That's Anachronisms, ANACHRONIZMS .blogspot.com. And I would, if you liked it, read through and see all the parentheticals, which I didn't mention, and italics and various things. The interruptions to myself that I'm making, if you didn't realize that I was doing that, which I'm sure you probably did, I mean, at least that, as I was trying to sort of explain things in which I didn't ever explain. But maybe I did a little bit. Anyway, thank you very much.